Hello, unless we resolve to act quickly to save our nation, we'll have no nation to save. It was with those words that Kenyan opposition leader Raila Odinga went into crisis talks with his rival, President Mwai Kibaki. The meeting in Nairobi, mediated by former UN Secretary-General Kofi Annan, was their first formal dialogue since last December's disputed elections. Both men talked about the need for calm after all the violence of recent weeks. Despite that, there was more trouble today. The number of dead from fresh clashes rose to 22. The tensions aggravated by the murder of an opposition politician. Let's get the very latest now from our correspondent, Orla Guerin, in Nairobi.
Running for their lives, part of Kibera slum is emptying tonight. Arsonists have already been here, threatening to return. The back streets full of armed men ready to defend themselves. And the machetes are out, a frightening sign of the times in Kenya. Mostly opposition supporters fleeing here, not one tribe but several, saying they expect an overnight attack by members of President Mwai Kibaki's Kikuyu tribe. What we are witnessing here now is an exodus. People have been streaming past us, desperate to get out of the area. Many are going with only what they can carry. Some have bed linen, some have mattresses, some have only the clothes that they stand up in. But they're so frightened of what could happen here that they're determined to get out. Then a moment of panic when people thought the attackers had arrived. A false alarm. This time.
In 10 minutes, the doctor came and said, "I'm sorry, your husband just passed away."
For Agnes Were, the worst has already happened. Her husband Mugabe, an opposition MP, shot dead on their doorstep overnight. The opposition called it an assassination, but within hours began formal talks with the government. This hopeful prediction from mediator Kofi Annan.
We are confident that the issues can be resolved within a year, and the immediate political issues be resolved, what we are describing as short-term issues, be resolved within 4 weeks.
But a breakthrough still looks like a distant prospect. Government helicopters were in action today, trying to scatter an angry mob that was ready to attack. In many areas, the violence has its own momentum, and it will be hard to stop. Orla Guerin, BBC News, Nairobi.
Well, it's now thought that some 1,000 Kenyans have died in the violence of the past month. Still, the reports of further killings continue to come in. I've been talking to G Money, a presenter on Homeboys Radio in Nairobi. Does he have faith in the talks that Kofi Annan is now mediating?
Well, I guess like the majority of the Kenyans here right now, I have to have faith in the talks because they seem to be the only way out. I mean, he's already achieved more than John Kufuor, the president of the African Union, who came in earlier, and Desmond Tutu, who came in very early on in the crisis. He's already got the two, Raila Odinga and President Kibaki, to shake hands. And even at his press conference earlier on, they had the two of them sitting on either side of him. So he's actually making some headway. Now we've got the initial stages out of the way. Hopefully we can have a proper roadmap towards some proper resolution of this.
Is there a mood there, though, that people are ready to compromise, no matter which side of the political line they are?
I think the leaders have definitely realized that, compromise has to take place. Because, it's got to the point now where a lot of the violence we're seeing seems to have got legs of its own. And, one of the things that you worry about in a situation like this is when you start getting tit-for-tat retaliation in terms of, there are ethnic clashes in one particular area, and then there are reprisals taking place in a totally separate area. So I guess they all realize, and, they realize that, we're at a time now where compromise is good. People are going to have to make hard decisions and compromise for the good of the country.
Your radio station advertises itself as representing the street. How do the streets feel?